inspire.
Before we get started, I just wanted to jump in and let you know that this episode has a POAP. If you don't know what that is, you can go to the description or go to rips.co/POAP, ryps.co/POAP, and you'll learn all about it. But stay tuned because there will be a secret code at some point in this video that I will jump in and let you know, and that will be how you claim your POAP. Let's get started. Welcome back to Starting Now. I'm your host, Jeff Sarris. This is the show where I talk to entrepreneurs and creators of all types to reveal the unexpected paths to where they are today. Today, my guest is the wonderful, wonderful NFT artist, Gavin Meeler. And I say NFT artist, but I mean, he's also a painter and he does so much. He's created so much and his work is phenomenal. Like, as soon as you see it, you recognize it as Gavin's work. And I'm so thankful that he took the time out to share his story, but we dive into everything and we learn just how fiercely independent he has been since a young age and how he's just wired for this and for sort of going out on his own as an entrepreneur and as an artist and building his brand of sorts on his own without really following a set path. He has carved out his own path and he's on his own journey, which you're going to love this episode. I absolutely loved chatting with Gavin. So that's enough rambling for me. Without further ado, my conversation with Gavin Meeler. Like, I feel like you're sort of living in these two worlds, not two worlds, but you have the like analog, like the paint, and then you have all the digital stuff. Like, how does a day typically look, or what does a day typically look like for you in terms of the art and everything?
Okay, so I mean, it really just depends on that day. I like to switch up a lot, I like to some days I feel more like I want to like actually get into the art and like really get like into the physical painting, messy type feel. And then sometimes I just want to like chill, lay back and like get on like the digital tablet or just something like phone or whatever. Sometimes I'll just draw like on my phone and like that's just so laid back. So that's really nice. So I don't know, it just depends.
Yeah. On your phone, are you just like using your finger in drawing?
I have a little stylus type thing.
Nice.
For the Samsung. So,
nice. That's cool. Yeah, because I don't think the iPhone, I don't think you can have like a stylus
really?
or anything on it. Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay.
But that's really awesome.
Yeah, for some reason I really like to work in like the small phone. I don't know why, but I know like I do want to work in the big like computer screen. Like I want to do that, but I like the phone for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate. Like, I really feel like the simplicity of something, like just being like, I have a phone and a stylus, that really speaks to me. Like, that's kind of how I like to operate, is the simpler, the sort of more concise, the better.
It kind of reminds me whenever I was in school and just had like paper and pen, pencil, and like that's it, I like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like a little notepad there that you're
exactly.
Working on. Have you ever released any of the things you've done like from the phone specifically?
A lot of the stuff I've done is from the phone.
That's
actually
really cool.
A lot of my NFTs. The Gavins World, that's all done on phone. So
really, that is really cool. Like, yeah, I mean, because I think we all just assume that like everyone's using Procreate and an iPad and all of these things. That's really
I've used
exciting.
Procreate on one thing and haven't released it yet.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So is there a specific app or anything that you use on the phone, or is it just something built in?
I actually don't know what it's called.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I never look at it. I just have like a, you pay like once for it, and I've never looked at what it's called. I just go in there and use it.
Yeah, it's just the tool. It's the tool that you use to create your art. Yeah, that's awesome. So when is the last time you were painting? Like, just sort of from where we are today?
Probably about a week ago.
Yeah.
I've been very, very busy with Gavins World. So
yeah, I could imagine. I mean, I adore that first piece in Gavins World. Like, I didn't have the budget, unfortunately, and now Gary has it. So like that's totally out of like my ability to acquire it. But this is something about that one specifically that really spoke to me. I love it, and I love what you're doing with Gavins World, because you're like how you're revealing like parts of you. And I like just looking through. I have like a friend, an NFT artist, and he's been on the show with Mars Dorian. And like I always love going through his stuff and finding the little things he's written and the little tattoos and
Oh
the things
yeah,
he does. And like
yeah.
you're doing a similar thing in this series, and I really love it. And like, we can maybe dive into some of the things that you've put into some of these pieces, because like you have the Eye of Insight, the Chatter Charlie, and the different things that you've put in there that I know are coming from within, from your story. And yeah, I really like it. But I guess maybe we'll just start. How do you describe who you are, what you do, in just a little brief pitch, I guess.
Okay. Not really good at like the pitches.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I'm better at like direct questions.
So I guess, how do
I
you
don't really
define
know.
your art? Maybe that's a good
Okay.
spot.
So yeah. Usually when people like, start throwing out all these words to define their art, I don't usually like to define it. Like I just, I just create and it's just me. So like it's Gavin's art. I will say that like Meeler's creation is like a expression of the figure, like the human. So like I would say, expressionist, figurative type deal. But like I don't usually like to put myself in that.
Oh, for sure.
So yeah, I just like to say it's just Gavin's work.
No, I love that. And I mean, it feels even that much more real, and like it's you. It's because it is hard. We don't want to be like sort of trapped into a little box to say, oh, now I'm always this. Have figures always been the thing that you've been drawn to?
Yes. Yeah, always. I've never done anything else, like that's just like the human brain is very like, I don't know, like that's always interested me so much. That's why most of it's based on psychology. So like the psychology of me or other people, anything around me, it's all people and it's all psychology. So
Yeah, is psychology as a what's even the word? As a discipline, is that something specifically as like psychology, has that intrigued you, or is it the expression of the psychology in your art?
it's both. I guess, yeah, it's both. I mean, I really like to depict, like whenever somebody is, I don't know, just really down in the dumps, and their psyche's everywhere. I really like to depict that, but I also love like in the Gavin's world, I have all these happy figures, and it's like a very simplified version of the psyche where you're like grabbing the emotions, you're taking them out, and you're making them like just, like I have like hiding Henry, like it's very simple. It's an emotion. He's hiding Henry. I like to do that too. So that's what I've been interested in lately.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because and Gavin's World feels like a I don't want to say a next step, because it's not like, but it's an evolution of where you are and how you're
Yes.
expressing yourself. Yeah, and
hmm
it's awesome because from what I gather, it comes more from within, maybe. Like I think this one is you versus what you see in other people. Is that sort of how you define the two?
Right. Yeah. So basically, Mealer's creations was kind of random ideas. I mean, it's random ideas I get all the time. So, and a lot of that is whenever I look out into the world and I see like anything and everything, that's what I see. So like, but that was my old world, like that's me kind of like touching on some of the old things that I had to go through. So a lot of it will be, a bit more upbeat, but still like I like to dive into the psyche, and a lot of times, your psyche goes the wrong way. So that's why it kind of looks kind of distorted. But yeah, that's Mealer's creations, and Gavin's world is like the kind of like other side where you get to like take apart each like emotion so that you get to specifically call like I have one that's called Happy Harry, Hiding Henry, like that kind of thing.
hmm what was the rabbit? There's also a rabbit on there, or a
Oh yeah,
wabbit.
Worry Wabbit.
Yeah, worry wabbit. Yeah. Well, and I think those are the things that we can like also like we all like have that. Like we have
hmm
those feelings within. So it's great to be able to express it and see it expressed in the art.
Yeah.
So when I don't even know where I want to begin because there's so much I want to ask to just dive into. But in terms of creating, let's say your first, let me rewind a little further. Sorry. But to go more to your origin story, and like I feel like you've expressed a lot through your work that there's some trauma and there's some things that you had to deal with. What sort of role did art play maybe in your early life, in Gavin's early life?
So basically, my first memory I have was creating. So like I was creating and I was telling stories. My first memory I have is me not knowing how to read yet, but telling my mom the story I think they meant and then redoing it in my own way. So like that's my first memory. So I've been doing this since I was, since I could remember.
Yeah, like how old would you say that memory might come from?
Mm, I think it was around
Oh, wow.
two, 3 or 2. I have like pieces of bits that I remember from 2 or 3. Like I
Mhm.
remember my 2-year-old birthday, like randomly remember
Oh,
that
wow.
kind of stuff. It's weird.
Yeah, but yeah, that shows it comes from within, like that
Hmm.
storytelling and the art. So when do you sort of see that art as a like as a discipline, say like the painting and the expressing it through physical pieces? When did you sort of start that up?
Well, I actually didn't create a painting until I was out of high school. I didn't like painting for some reason. Like I felt like it was the mature step. So I just wanted to like get good with my like pen and pencil first and then like step it up to that because like I just felt like I wasn't ready
Uh-huh.
for some reason for so long. And I was too intimidated by the painting because like that's where the great masters do their work as the canvas, the painting. So I was really scared of that. So
Yeah.
I kind of waited on that. I jumped into that later. I've just been like basically whenever I was in high school and below, I've just worked and I did do like 1 or 2 watercolor paintings, but other than that, did not touch paint.
Yeah. So like, what kinds of things were you doing then prior to paint with pen and pencil?
Um, yeah, I just did like I tried to create like my own world, which is funny that I'm doing that now. So like I know there's a lot of art projects where I usually didn't do them because like even though I was in art class and the art teacher liked me usually, like I just didn't like the art projects that they gave me. It was too constructed. So like I tried to branch off and just create my own world. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So then, like, would I assume you still like would do those projects, but then do your own, or did you just completely say, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do this?
A lot of times, I would not do them at all. They would have to like say, okay, fine, I'll give you a separate project to do because like I could do that really quickly, but like for some reason, whenever I don't want to do something, I mean, I'll put squiggly lines on it and hand it to you and get an F. Like I don't care. I'll just take a lot of time on my own thing.
Yeah. Did you ever, do you feel like there was a moment where you sort of had that power? You took that power back to be like, no, 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 I have this path that I want to go down, not your path.
My whole life, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
every step of the way.
Is that, did that stem from somewhere? Or is it just deep within since birth?
I don't really know. I guess it's just been since birth. Like, when somebody tells me to go one way or the other way, I'm going to go the way that I want to go. Doesn't matter which way you tell me, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I feel like you have that vision too, which is very important. Like
Mhm,
it's maybe not easy, but a lot of people might just be like, "No, I'm not going to do that." But you actually have a path that you see that you want to go down. It
mhm.
seems like from a very early age. When you were
Yeah, I
young,
mean,
mhm,
I told everyone that that's what I was going to do.
with
Like,
being an
because,
artist, you
like,
mean?
yeah, yeah, like, I just didn't see the point in not saying that. Like, that's just what I wanted to do. And everyone always said, they would try to be like, well, you should do something more practical. And I just didn't care. Like, because it's very simple. You just keep doing it until you're there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, is there a moment when you feel like you were there?
Still don't. I mean,
I
I
totally
mean,
relate.
like I still don't feel like I'm there because I haven't created like the perfect piece, but I don't think I ever will. But that's
Mhm.
kind of like the process that you like love. Like you just keep trying to create the perfect piece, and you know that there's no perfect piece, so you're just creating for like creating sake. So it's just kind of like a cycle of creating.
Absolutely. And yeah, creation and growth and developing your craft, which is already phenomenal. It's amazing. But you were doing this before NFTs. How did you get into the art world as it is prior to NFTs?
So there's a guy on Instagram. I don't know if he has a Twitter, but he's a local guy in my area. He's a local artist. His name is Jalil. He goes by Asciate. That's his like brand, you know.
Okay.
He really helped me because he was like, like, I'm doing an art show. I seen your work. I would love for you to, come by. And at the time, that was an opportunity. And so it was like I just loved all going to like all of those art type things. The only like weird thing was I felt like there just weren't enough like people looking at it, Like I wanted it to be like, I don't know, different. I didn't know that what I was envisioning was NFTs, but I was. Like I just seen that like, okay, they don't see it as it's supposed to be. Like it's not as important as it should be. Because people would look at it like we do like a place where we go to like a drinking place. What was it? It was ale something. I forgot what it's called, but basically everyone was drinking around the paintings. They weren't really paying attention to it. They were just kind of partying and not looking at the actual artwork. Like they thought it was cool, but whatever. And that kind of was like, okay, where can we go? What can we do that's like fully about the art? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And about other things too, about the people. Really, it's about the artist himself or herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, like, how early then did you start going and I don't know, is it presenting your art? I don't know exactly how to, or showcasing your art.
It was like an art show. That was after high school, which was like right after high school.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I mean, right now you're only 23, right? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're still so young, but you have such a rich experience as an artist, like from everything, just looking from the outside in. So yeah, I feel like you're wise beyond your years with all of this. So, so you were going to the art shows and bringing your work, showcasing your work, say, but they weren't really being seen in the way that you would hope. Sort of, what is that transition then, and from going from the physical art world and getting a little closer to where we are today?
So I was, I think, I don't know what I was doing, but basically I seen a video of Gary Vee and he was talking about NFTs and I thought it sounded very interesting. I had some Ethereum, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know that you could use it at the time. I just invested in cryptocurrency when I was young and I liked it. And then I seen him talking about NFTs and it was blockchain and I was very interested, but I was too intimidated to jump in because it was a lot of information, minting, and it cost money to mint. I didn't get it. It took me a lot to like wrap my mind around it at first. And then I just kind of was like, look, I don't understand it and I don't hear people talking about it a lot at the time. So I was like, whatever, I'll just, get into it later. And then later came around and Fewocious and Gary Vee did a video on YouTube. And like, I was listening to this kid, like this awesome kid just talk about his experiences with NFTs. And I was like, that's my dream. Like he's living my dream. So I have to do something. So like I got up right then after listening to that video.
I'm going to jump in right here and let you know the secret word for this episode is my dream now. That's the secret word to claim the POAP, but they are extremely limited. There are 100 claims available for that word. And if you're watching within the first day that this is released, you can also DM me with the secret word, and I'll have 100 additional links that I can hand out. Again, that's my dream now, all one word. Back to the show.
And I just started creating and then posted I just listed my first NFT. It cost me $200. And then I got confused because I spent another 200, then I accidentally burned one. And, I was just like, whatever. I didn't have much money, but I wanted that, that kind of like, I don't know, like he just had this thing about him. I love Fewocious' work and I love Gary Vee's, like, I don't know, something about the whole video just really, really hit home for me. So I just got into it.
Nice. So you were following Gary before NFTs then?
Yeah, I was following him for a while now. I don't even know how long. I think it's been like 5 years, maybe 6.
Yeah. I mean, because he's such a a wealth of information and knowledge and everything. And I know on one of your pieces, you do have a little section where you're essentially thinking like, I need to make it on my own. I need to
Right.
be successful, reading a book like How to Be Rich. Was
Hmm.
that something from an early age that you were?
Yes. So, like, like not having much money growing up, I always like heard complaining about bills or, just everything was like the power was about to go out. What are we gonna do? Like that kind of thing. So I immediately just like went to school and like all I would do is basically you'd have to do these like tests on these books to get a good grade. But like, of course, I never cared about the grade. I went to the books section and just got every successful person. So I would get an Adam Sandler book. He was successful. I'd
Uh-huh.
read that book. I would read all of the books about celebrities, and then I'd read all the books about money. And I'd read all the books about anything that has to do with being financially successful because I was like, I guess like afraid that I would get stuck in a bad financial place. And I knew that I would if I was continuing down the route that I was going.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Like that, because that is that self-driven, you had your path. You knew
Hmm.
where you wanted to go and you were going to make it happen. Were there any particular books? You mentioned a few people, but any one books in particular that really, to this day, you sort of think back on?
I think the Adam Sandler one for some reason always stuck out to me. That's why I said it.
Uh-huh.
Like there's something about it. I don't know what it was. It was like a kid's book, It was like a breakdown of who Adam Sandler was, but in a very simplistic form for kids.
Yeah.
And for some reason that just stuck out to me. And then also I liked Will Ferrell, his story about him being a banker or bank teller. And everyone thought that he wasn't funny and he'd be the last person to be a comedian. Like I love that. I don't know. I like I can't really remember all of them. So
Well, yeah, but there is that like sort of bucking expectations, maybe. So people they're expecting this out of someone, but there's something like it's amazing. Like that's an awesome story. Like to have a Will Ferrell.
yeah,
I actually didn't know that about Will Ferrell at all.
I would research a lot on like, okay, so they're successful, right? And everyone knows who they are. How did they get there? What steps exactly did they take? Like I would really research that because like I'm interested in the process of how they got there
Mhm.
and like what they had to experience to get there. And yeah, I was very interested in the process.
Yeah. So in terms of process, then, what types of things were you trying, maybe that you were pulling from all the stuff that you were learning?
So I really gathered that like all it took was kind of like it took like for the most part them to be somewhere where they just didn't like they were very uncomfortable with being. They were tired of the bank teller job or whatever even business that they were doing at the time. They got really tired of it. It was some kind of stressor that was like, okay, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna go live my dream because I'm unhappy doing something right now that I don't even like doing. So I'll do something that I do like doing that I'm happy with, but I'm not making hardly anything. And maybe one day it'll be something.
Yeah. So what were
So
some? uh, Was that then the art for you, or were there specific things that you were trying?
I did venture into, some business ideas of my own. Like I ventured into reselling because Gary Vee actually posted a video about yard selling
Uh-huh.
and like trash talk. I love those series that he did on YouTube. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. Go to yard sales. I had a lot of success with it as far as like, you would find like I found these She-Ra dolls like from He-Man.
Uh-huh.
I found those for $2 and flipped them for like 100 each. And I found I think seven of them. And like
Nice.
that's really good money. But you don't come across that every day. But like that kind of stuff was like awesome. It's brand new in the pack. That kind of stuff is really fun to do. It's a fun way of making money.
Yeah, for
So yeah.
sure. Had you made any money on your own? Like, 'cause that's like an entrepreneurial endeavor. Had you done anything like
Right.
that prior?
I mean, not really. Like I tried to sell things. Like I would try to flip up to things at school. So like in elementary school and middle school, I would be like, okay, I have a wrestler, okay, like Stone Cold or something,
Uh-huh.
and I would try to flip that. Like I would say, here's a wrestler. I know you like wrestling, and you don't like this Pokemon game. I'm gonna get your Pokemon game, and I know that wrestler is worth $10. Pokemon game's worth 40. I think one day it's gonna be worth 80. So like I hold on to it and it's actually worth like 150 now. And I'm
Nice.
like, okay, I did good. Like I
Uh-huh.
would try to like flip up to something in like school days.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Like, I mean, that is that it's like a little dopamine rush. It's because you
Hmm.
got it, you nailed it. You saw the future and you were able
Hmm.
to figure it out. Is there anyone in your life that sort of that you feel like you're emulating, or is this something that you've pulled from all the knowledge that you've gleaned from the outside world?
I mean, since it was like from elementary school, I don't think that I've been emulating anyone.
Mhm.
It's just been like who I am. It just so happens that whenever I got out of high school, or whenever I was in high school, I think in 12th grade is whenever I heard about Gary Vee. He like fit all the things. I was like, this is the guy that, because like I actually thought about it, and I've never had an idol before. I've never had anyone that I held highly. Like I always just kind of hold everyone on the same ground of, you're a human being, you mess up, like, and you do good, like it's simple. But whenever I seen Gary Vee, I was like, this guy has something different. He like, it's because he shows everything of who he is. Like he shows his realness, he shows his flaws and weaknesses right in front of you,
Mhm.
and he tries to attack all the negative traits that he has. Like if you're a bad person, you can start working on those positive traits, and that like really intrigued me. So
Yeah. Do you feel like then you've applied that to yourself as well?
I definitely did. Yeah, I wasn't like, you know, like I was dealing with like mental struggles. So whenever I like started hearing some of the things he said, I was like, okay, yeah, I can work on that. And like with his new book, it hits on all the things that I've been working on. So like it really helps you like be a better person if you just follow those things, whether you're an artist, an employee, a manager, business owner, whatever.
Yeah, that's, I mean, really awesome. It's like, and he'll say this too. It's like the thing said in the right way at the right time for you, and it feels
Hmm.
like you hit on that moment that it
Yeah.
sunk in and everything started to come together, which is amazing. So like before NFTs and like the flipping, were there any particular jobs or career paths that you were on? Not career paths, but like things that you were doing to sort of pay the bills in the interim?
Hmm. Yeah. So like right out of high school, I got a job at Pizza Hut. I've worked at, many places, Pizza Hut, Chick-fil-A. I worked at a paint body place. That was
Hmm.
my last place I worked at, where I was trying to like hone my craft, but like also get money for it. So
Uh-huh.
like I would learn how to paint trucks. And basically like I barely learned how to do it because I was like on training. You can't just like do that. You have to like have already knowledge on how to do that, or you mess up the paint job. The paint's very expensive. Um, So I did that. That's probably the longest job I had. But jobs I never stuck to. Like, I mean, it's strictly for the money for me because like I hate building somebody else's thing when I don't believe in it because that's just how I am. Like I can't do something if I don't believe in it. So like I don't care to build your Pizza Hut. I don't care to build your Chick-fil-A. I don't care to build your paint and body place. It's money and that's it.
Yeah.
If it was something that was, more along my lines of importance, then I would have stayed, but I never found anything.
Yeah, you have that entrepreneurial drive just innately because that's like I
Hmm.
feel the same way. Like I had a job for far too long, but it was just like
Hmm.
I couldn't do it anymore, because
Right.
just like 8 to 5 every day doing sort of mindless work. And I'm like, what am I? I'm not even doing anything worth my time or arguably their time even. But yeah, so that is it's amazing that I love that you found your way to that NFTs are that bridge, are that gap
Hmm.
to
And
jump. Mhm.
some people like they don't think like I just now recently figured this out. Like everyone's always still learning, and like I just figured out that people, not everyone wants to own a business. Not everyone cares to figure out NFTs, even if they can make it
Mhm.
in the NFT space. Like they just like I've talked to people, try to get them in, some artist friends, some people that aren't making much, and they're just not interested. Like some people, it's just not for them. It's too much, I guess, work, and they're fine with working at the place that they do, and that's like that's nothing to, I don't know, sneeze at. Like that's good
Oh yeah,
for them.
it's hard to like fathom though, right? Because for me, I feel the same way. Like I can't get it. I feel like, oh no, here's the tools. Like I'm sure you want this.
Hmm. Yeah, right, right. That's something that I've been trying. That's why I name that painting, I just want to help,
Hmm.
because like I'm just trying to help everyone. Like I'm always trying to, like in the back end, even though you might not see it, like I'm constantly getting people in the space, constantly teaching them like everything about um OpenSea, MetaMask, like they don't know even what cryptocurrency is. So I have to like run them down the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I love doing it. Like I love teaching people about the space and then trying to get them in other business ventures that I think of. So I
Uh-huh.
just want to help people.
For
And a
sure.
lot of times they don't want the help, but that's fine. Like I'm trying to learn who to help, who not to help, because certain people, they don't want it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really hard because like I feel like I come from a similar space and like we help people build businesses. That's like our
Hmm.
business is developing brands and things. And yeah, it's the person needs to want that out of their life. They want because it's not easy. Like I mean,
Hmm.
you can attest to this isn't some simple like you flipped a switch and then all this ETH is pouring in. Like you're
No.
pouring yourself into all of this work. So yeah, it's a lot to expect for someone else.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so when you were so you did the $200, you actually burnt the first one and so you're into NFTs, you have one out there. What were sort of some of the first steps you were taking then? Because had you used social media previously, Twitter specifically?
I'd never used Twitter.
Okay.
I didn't even know how to work Twitter.
Yeah.
I created a Twitter specifically for like gaming purposes.
Mhm.
So like, like I would see if servers are down, but that's it. The only way I knew how to work Twitter was to type in whatever game I was playing, that server, and that's it. Um, that's the only Twitter knowledge I had. Instagram, I've always been posting on there, but like with Instagram, for some reason, I would constantly like go back and delete my stuff. So like I would post it and then I would delete some, post it, delete. Um, so I did a lot of Instagram, but yeah, no Twitter.
Yeah. So then when you had that piece out there then, how did you get started? What was sort of the first step after minting for you?
So I minted it on Rarible, and I had a lot of people tell me that OpenSea is the place to be right now. Rarible just isn't it right now.
Mhm.
So I jumped on OpenSea after about a week of minting, and I really liked how it looked. The I liked the blue on there, and on everything just felt better for me, like user friendly, because I was very confused on Rarible, but it could have been because I was new to like how NFT websites looked.
Mhm.
Um, so basically, I listed something on OpenSea, and miraculously, I don't know how. I mean, you need luck sometimes. OpenSea posted my image on their Instagram, so they, like on the main post. Um, so that was pretty big because all of a sudden I got a pour in of followers, and I
Yeah.
was like, "What just happened?"
And was
Like
that your
I've
first piece on OpenSea?
that was my fourth piece, and
Wow.
that was a week after posting, or after it was technically 2 weeks after getting into NFTs.
Yeah, that's amazing. And had you made
Right.
like any connections with people in the space at that point, or was it just happenstance that they found you?
I only talked to Gabe. I think that's it. I only knew him from Instagram.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, I didn't even. Whenever I first got into NFTs, I typed in NFT thinking that that's where NFTs was. Like on Google, like you would type in like NFT and like there they are. It
Uh,
was like going to be like a site called NFT. Like I knew nothing, so like that's what I typed in first. And then I found Rarible. Like it was, I don't know. It's really funny to like. Sometimes you wish that there was like a camera always on you to like so that everyone could see like you making these funny little mistakes like typing in NFTs and hoping that that's where you meant is just NFT the website.
yeah, because people are aspiring to be Gavin Meeler. Like they look at you and like you're successful, you're creating this amazing work, but we all start at that spot where we don't know anything. We're just brand new.
And that's very weird because I still don't think that I'm like anywhere yet. You know what I mean? Like I just started here. I don't plan on, like people calling me successful or wanting to be a Gavin Meeler until it's been like 5 to 10 years. And they're like, okay, this guy's like a 5 to 10 year track record. That's when it's like, okay, maybe then. But right now, like that's weird.
Uh-huh. So the first piece is on Rarible. On Rarible. Was that July? Is that about ballpark?
July. Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah,
That
when was
was
that?
that was the last day of June.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that is
Mhm.
wild though, because we think like everything in the NFT space is so compressed, right? Because doesn't that feel like, I don't know about you, but like it feels like an eternity ago in terms of the space, like from my perspective.
Yeah, that feels like 4 years,
Yeah.
honestly.
And it's
It feels
amazing.
like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I don't even know why exactly. There's just so much movement that's happening and so much
Yeah,
has changed for you.
yeah, it moves way too quick. Like we wanted to do this. I don't even know. We wanted to do this whenever I was like a month and a half in,
Uh-huh.
I
Oh
think.
yeah.
And I pushed it back because I wasn't ready yet,
Oh.
to like be on camera and talk.
Uh-huh.
Now I've been like working on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, and I appreciate you
Mhm.
doing this. So you made it to OpenSea onto
Mhm.
their social media, and then you got some followers. Did
Yeah.
that bring in the first collectors?
Yes. I actually was like, okay, so like I woke up to that. I seen that they posted me and I was like freaking out.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know, like usually it sucks because like whenever something big happens like that, the expected reaction is to like post about it and like start freaking out. But I immediately run away from social media every time. I'm starting to get better at it,
Mhm.
like, showing my, like emotions, but like usually I just close the social media and walk away and like experience it like in life.
Uh-huh.
Um, because like I was like thrilled to be on there because I was like I'm next to like some of like the coolest people. Like I seen on Instagram, like you have all those people in there, and I was like, these are some awesome people, and I can't believe I'm next to them. And it brought in, so I had just like a trial project called Ethereum. I was
Mhm.
just kind of testing the waters. I sold one of those because of that. Those were very cheap, and then I sold that piece that got posted. And that the piece that got posted was the first one to sell. That one actually took one day to sell, and I was like interested by that because I was like, it's on the Instagram, main page, and I was curious because I was like, NFTs are supposed to be very quick and huge, right?
Mhm.
And if yeah, I was very confused at why there wasn't much traction because the views I was like trying to like break down like algorithm right then. So I was like, okay, so the views don't match up. What's going on? I thought people said the NFTs were quick, not that I wanted a quick sell or anything. I was just interested in the data. And then I was like, oh, you need to be on Twitter. I get it now. I was like, that's where it's at. So like the Instagram post was awesome and I'm super grateful. But I was like, oh, it's Twitter. That's where everything's at, Twitter.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's like revitalized Twitter. It feels like because I have been
Hmm.
on Twitter for a long time, but right now this feels like the early days of Twitter still. Like the NFT space, everyone's so supportive and connecting and interacting. It's a lot of fun on there too. I
Hmm.
mean, hopefully when it's like when things go well, like it's good. So when you jumped on Twitter, then what were some of the first things you were doing?
So I think I jumped on Twitter like a month after that because I knew that Twitter was a big thing in the space after. But I was just so focused on creating. Like I wanted to really like create something. I don't know, like I was trying to get this specific like style going, but I
Hmm.
didn't know how to approach it. So like I was just creating, and I was just kind of pumping things out and like testing the data because like I don't know how to do anything until you just jump in.
Uh-huh.
Like researching does a lot, but like jumping in just is the way to learn. So I just jumped in, tried my best. And with Twitter, I had knew nothing. Like I didn't know how to work it. I thought that it worked like Instagram. And I still don't exactly know if I'm doing it right, but
Well, that's
yeah.
hugely valuable. Like that you take that approach that like because we really only learn from doing. Like we learn, but the experience that we get in the trenches is so much more valuable and rich, I would say,
Mhm.
from actually doing it. Yeah, that absolutely the way to do it. And so you were in there, um you're still figuring out even to till today. What's the what is that thread between you and then Gary picking up one of your pieces?
I don't really know.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
I just don't. I don't know. I made this piece and I kind of like talked about my emotions with the piece. This is the first piece that he bought. Um And I just kind of mentioned to Gary in one of my posts, like, hey, I got into NFTs because of you and Fewocious. Like, this is the whole reason why I'm here. I seen the video of you too. And like, I just had to jump in because this kid was living my dream. And then you were talking to him. And it was like just this awesome experience for me because he's talking about auction houses. And like, I've been researching auction houses like for so long, like I see Picasso's in there and this kid's in an auction house. Like, like the before art world is like, don't you have to die to get there? Like you have to die
Yeah.
and then you get the auction house. It's not the other way around. You don't get to live to see your stuff there. So um, I mentioned basically how I got into the NFT space in one of his posts where he bought his first women in weapons. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so he bought one of her like Genesis pieces, I think is what it's called. Um, and I mentioned my post in there, and he said like something like, I got one or something like that. And
Nice.
like that was absolutely just I was just I didn't know what to do with myself. Like I was like, is this real? Like did he really like at first I seen it and I was like, there's no way. So I went on Twitter, he posted about it. I was like, there's no way. And then I like I was in the shower and I was just like I just stood in there for so long, not knowing what to do.
Uh-huh. Were you working a job at that point, or had you
No.
gone full in already?
See, I actually quit my job whenever I was doing like the reselling stuff.
Oh yeah.
So like
Hmm.
so I was doing the reselling and like I was just now talking to my wife, Courtney, about trying to branch off and get out of like having to like okay, but basically you like take pictures. You take like I don't know, you take like 25 pictures a day of different items. You have to flip them over, measure them, all of that. You put them on eBay, and then you'd have to go and like organize your storage um, facility. And like it was just like a lot of it was so much that it was taking up my time where I couldn't create.
Hmm.
So I was like, one day I want NFTs to take over this to where that's just fun. Like just me going to the thrift store, spending $6, flipping it for like 40, and it's all fun.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then it happened.
Yeah.
So it was a weird flip.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, so after Gary then made that purchase, what was the next maybe a few days like for you?
Okay. So I thought about like what people would do in that situation,
Mhm.
and I knew what most people would do. Most people would jump in and just start like minting like as much as they could, to like try to get on the hype and try to make a lot of money. I, on the other hand, didn't mint anything. Um, I just wanted to kind of take it in, and I take a step back and was just like, okay, what am I doing here? This is getting really serious. Like
Uh-huh.
Gary Vee's buying my art. This is getting serious. And I was like, but most likely I got lucky. It just happened to be that he seen my post and he seen a compelling story and picked up the piece. And I was like, whatever, like whatever. I'm not gonna like hold myself high right yet, but I need to get serious about what I'm doing. So I just kind of started creating more, but didn't mint anything.
Yeah. So then what was there sort of an impetus for minting, or was it once you felt like you had some pieces? Like when did you start really
Um,
minting more?
I think I can't really remember. I think what happened was I made my series on Meeler's creations
Mhm.
called Impact to the Psyche. Um, so I think I waited until I completed all of those physical pieces and then minted those instead, like of doing anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. So because you were doing a lot of the physical to, or actually, yeah, like because you're doing a lot of physical to the NFTs, but like we talked about, they're not all physical pieces to
Mhm,
begin with. How do you
mhm.
maybe categorize those to yourself? Do you have a different feeling towards the physical that turns into an NFT versus the NFT first?
I feel like it's more special long term because like it's similar to I mean not to keep mentioning Gary, but
Oh no.
to Gary's V frames. Like he sold those in auction, the physical pieces. But he has those V frames, but he only has one image. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But he made them into several images. So it's kind of like that. So like I don't know. I feel like they're gonna have something special to them because if for some absolutely crazy reason, if someone picks up a physical that's has a massive following, or if somehow I get into an auction house, which would I don't even like saying, and like I don't even like
Yeah.
saying it, but I'll say it.
Uh-huh.
If that something like that happened and it's sold for like some insane price, let's just say like 15,000. So
Mhm.
like if the physical piece sold for 15,000 and it got all those like news coverage, then the NFTs are obviously going to be skyrocketing, I think.
Mhm.
So I think those are really special. The digital ones are interesting because there is no physical, like there's just no physical. It's just digital. So that makes it really special as well because it has no association. It's just a digital painting and it's all in like this NFT world. And there's
Mhm.
no other way to obtain it without, like a computer, a phone.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's pretty interesting.
until someone prints it or does something to bring it to the
Right.
physical world, it's
Right.
always bits and
And,
bytes.
and even then it's not the original. It's
Mhm.
kind of cool because like there is no original. It's just lines on a digital screen. And there's like a number in my computer for what that image is,
Uh-huh.
but there is no original image. So that's what makes it so unique and special.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you've done a lot of interesting things, like the fishing, sort of, I almost
Mm.
want to say event. Like, I love the creativity that went into that. Can you just describe a little bit about sort of how you approach that to almost
So
gamify things?
yeah, so I thought that I was thinking about the space and how like what I seen that was missing because like I see a lot of artists and I love creating new fun ideas and I'll definitely be coming back to that idea. Um, so I seen that artists were doing these like 100 of 100 like big utility pieces, and then I seen that artists were just kind of dropping like every day, and they would just kind of throw stuff out there. So I thought I'll create these 10 fish that are like legendary fish, and to get these, that's how you get like the special, like utility. And then I thought, well, what if there's a fisherman, and that fisherman, you need the fisherman to like grab many fishermen as you can, to like I don't know, it's like this game where you collect as many Mealer's creations as possible. The fisherman really helps out because it's so cheap. And at the time, myself was selling like it was selling out instantly. So I thought this is a really good time to create a game because I want people to have fun. That's what this space is about to me is like having fun while you're doing this, not just, you know, buying, selling quickly, making a profit, buying, selling, like you don't have to, it doesn't have to be boring like that. You
Yeah.
can have fun with it. So I thought let's try to make someone like just grab as many as they can and let's see how many people get. I was curious, like is someone going to get like 100 and then someone else is going to get 101? Is it going to be like a close call? Like I was interested and like I myself love like gaming leaderboards. I
Hmm.
love to like beat the leaderboards. So I thought that that would be interesting for everyone. Um, so I made a game, the top three, you know, collectors, they get rewarded for that. And the top one is going to be a fish. And there's only 10 ever made. And right now, I think there's like eight. So there's still two more to be made. And like, I just thought it was a good idea to have some fun with it.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and I love how where the space is now. Like, you didn't have to like bring in developers or bring in like people to make this happen.
Mhm.
You could come up with that idea and run with it, and it's a really engaging experience for your community, your collectors, and people who follow along. I think it's great.
Yeah, I hope that I can do another one where I have a little bit of a larger scale so that everyone can kind of like have fun with it. And
Uh-huh.
I've been trying to think of like creative ways to where everyone can just have fun. Um, and like the for me, I don't know about everyone else, but for me, the best way to have fun is to like, play around with money. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like you put in $5, maybe you'll get like 10, not like gambling, but like, like you put in $10 into like an item, I don't know, like a Pokemon game, like I was saying, like the flipping stuff, or like poker, or anything really. Staying away from gambling more so because I think it's fun to like with the game that I did, you just collect as many as you can. It's not gambling. It's you better collect as many as you can.
Yeah.
or you'll fall behind.
Yeah, you have the agency over it. It's like it's a true game. Not that like gambling isn't a game, but there's much more
Mhm.
randomness in that. So the
Yeah,
randomness is sort of pulled away, and it's like, oh, how can I like maneuver even? Because I'm sure people were like trying to do trades and doing things that were interesting to
mhm.
them and makes them that much more invested in it.
Yeah. So last time it was kind of like it wasn't as exciting as I thought because I didn't have as many people as I wanted.
Hmm.
It was more about let's try to flip the gone fishing piece, the fisherman.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, can't be flipped anymore. Let's just drop it to the lowest price. And then that's when everything kind of started dying down for a bit and like nobody was buying anything. So like it didn't take off like I wanted, but that's why I want to do another one and like one day. And
Mhm.
like whenever it picks up a bit for me and I build my brand a little bit more so that I can have a lot of people have fun with this game.
Yeah, and you learn. I mean, like you said, like you're
Mm,
learning from doing, and that's so
right. That's
valuable.
that's what I always do. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had big names mentioned, obviously Gary. But I remember seeing like MC Hammer, I think, tweeted about you at one point, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. He tweeted like a couple of times. Yeah.
yeah, which is wild. So now that it's happened sort of multiple times, like, do you um do you find yourself reacting any differently now?
Mm-mm. No. For some reason, every time something big happens, I go into super focus mode. Like I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and like I try to show my like genuine appreciation. And then as soon as it's up, I'm like let's get to work. Like let's beat that. Like I want to beat. Like I always try to beat myself. So like I kind of get sometimes like it happens. I'm super excited. I'm like pumped, psyched about it, and then I'm like, okay, so the previous Gavin is doing really good. The future Gavin needs to do better. That kind of thing. So I keep trying to beat myself over and over again.
That is such a valuable. Like you are wired for this. It's amazing. Like because really, like you said, like Fewocious, like seeing that person living your dream, and you're like, okay,
Mm,
now it's time to bring it in. I'm going to compete with myself, and I'm going to take the stair steps to get to where I want to be. Like that's amazing. Like so inspirational, I think too, because like you said,
mm,
you're bettering yourself by competing with yourself. Like everyone can win. Like it's not like you have to win for you to win, someone else has to lose. Like
right,
it's how do I beat previous Gavin?
right. And that's what I want to make it about. Like of course, like there's that competitive drive to like not beat other artists at all. It's like it's always a friendly game. It's always I
Mhm.
want everyone to make it, but it's like you have to feel both. Like, okay, that's a competitor and a friend. So like I want to beat you, but I also want you to win somehow. Like
Uh-huh.
somehow in like this weird world, like I want you to win and I want to beat you. And I'm gonna do everything I can to beat you, but also I want you to win. It's like it's very confusing.
Uh-huh, for sure. Yeah,
But
because
but it's fun.
yeah, it's sort of winning in your own vertical. So like you can still win and no one has to lose.
That's
It's
what
interesting.
that's why I like to face myself because it's like who else to beat besides yourself? That always feels the best.
Uh-huh. So what does your community sort of look like with other artists? Do you engage a lot with people?
Yeah. So I try to find and pick up a lot of new artists. I try to engage with like I've engaged with all like I engaged with Tom Fry, or Frey. How do you say it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Um well I love his work and I engaged with him when he only had like 25 ETH or 30 ETH traded. And
Mhm.
like I just seen something in him and I was like, this guy's gonna take off. Like I knew who was gonna take off, kind of similar to whenever I was in school. And like I seen like, I had a wrestler in my hand, but I seen a Pokemon game. I knew which one was gonna be the better deal. So like I would, talk to these artists and I was like, how do you do this? How do I make it? I would ask them questions. I would kind of bother them because like just like in my childhood, I would read books about how to be successful. I always learn from others, but I don't ever like necessarily like just run with what they say. I kind of like take in the information and then tweak it because I want to know what they did, but it has nothing to do with what I do.
Exactly. And that's actually like the whole premise of this show. I want to showcase as many origin stories because we're all on different paths. But I know people will be like, "Oh, like I've been here where Gavin was, or I've been here. And I think that's really valuable because all of our paths are completely unique and
Right.
completely like distinct to us.
And it will not happen. Like if you follow someone's exact path, it might not happen for you.
Hmm.
You might have to follow five different people. You might have to combine all of their paths together to create your own path.
Yeah.
Because like for instance, I asked a lot of people how do they do certain things. Like I asked Early Worm, Tom, Gabe, I asked everyone that you could think of probably. Like exactly what they do, like how they do their multiples. Do they do multiples? Some of them do one of ones. Um, and like I tried all of the methods instead of just like I wanted to see what I liked personally, and then I wanted to see what worked. So like what was I happy doing, and then what works. And I just kind of run at everything
Yeah.
to see, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I mean, that's learning. That's the trial by fire of sorts.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's so valuable. And so just to sort of round out the story, you did get
Yeah.
to meet Gary Vee.
Yes. Yes. In New York, I met Gary V. Um, and then immediately, whenever I got home, or while I was on the plane, actually, I was working on a piece because, like, when I was in New York, I realized like I was super shy. Like, I don't know how I just didn't understand how to talk to people. Like, whenever I see a conversation going up, I was like, I don't know how to talk to this person. I can talk to one-on-one people. If you come up to me, ask me a question, and start engaging with me, I can talk. But I see these people in conversations. I didn't know how to do it. Everyone was crowding around Gary Vee. I was like, I don't know how to enter this. Even though it was the first one that I could have walked straight up to him before the people came in,
Mhm.
I didn't know how to go up to him. My wife had to like drag me over there because like I was in frozen mode.
Yeah.
So like I went over there, I met him, and I was going to try to create a moment and like talk to him, but all I could say really was, "Thank you so much for buying my piece. Can I get a picture?" And like I felt so stupid after because I was like, "That's what I said was, can I get a picture?" Like I wanted to like really create like a moment, but I couldn't say anything else. It was like basically, let me get a picture and run because I didn't
Mhm.
know what to do. So I created that piece, and the piece where like it was, "I'm shy and that's okay."
Mhm.
I created that piece right after, and then he bought that piece recently, and that's absolutely insane.
Yeah. That is amazing. Like that is so full circle, like completely.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean that, but and I think a lot of us can relate to that too because you get sort of frozen in that
Mm,
spot because this person means a lot to your story. I mean, he's had a major impact. And
right.
then being able to like make that connection, even if the connection is minimal at the time, that is, yeah, that is awesome. I just love that. It really like ties everything up into a nice bow. But I mean, you're still going, you're still creating, you're still like moving forward on everything. So like, where are you at sort
Yeah.
of right now, and what are you looking at?
So when he bought my piece for the second time, that's when I came up with this notion of like, when it happens two times, when anything happens two times, it's like a positive, like that means you're onto something, or you got lucky twice. It's possible that you got lucky twice, but like you're probably onto something. And then I was like, I started thinking, and I'm like, I thought that I was starting whenever I started in late June,
Mhm.
or like the end of June, but I didn't even start then. That was all practice. You know what I mean? This is the beginning right here. It started today. And I started thinking like, this is, I'm at 0%. Like I started at zero today.
You
So
just,
I have 100% more to go.
yeah, you have just the best mentality for all this. This is, I love it. Like this is why you succeed and why you're going. Like from me, I know you're not going to say, but from me, like you're going to succeed and keep going and be continue to be the Gavin Meeler that people are like, I aspire to be that because it shows from who you are and how you approach life. So yeah, I love it. Like so. Then, like right now, what are you working on that you sort of maybe excited about, or like where's your mind space in terms of NFTs right now today?
Okay, so I'm really liking the thoughts that I'm having with Gavin's World.
Mhm.
So like it's gonna be this big Gavin world, and I'm gonna make it that. So basically, there's these little doodles, and the creature doodles, those are gonna be the I don't really want to say exactly what I'm gonna do,
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's
because
fine. Yeah.
but basically that's gonna be the realm of like you might want to pick those up because anything in that picture you might get from another branch off series. And those branch off series will be like, all these little things I used to create whenever I was a kid. And actually, to create Gavin's World, I took a step back and I seen like what I created as a kid. And I was like, like I was creating these little characters. And I always would create like, I would always like to stick with the HH. So like, hiding Henry.
Uh-huh.
Like I would always do that because I seen it in like whatever books. I was really inspired by like Dr. Seuss books, like, and like I love their little characters. So that's what I'm really excited about right now. That's my main focus because I think there's just something there.
Definitely. And how often are you releasing or planning to release new Gavins World pieces right now?
I don't really have a planned schedule. I just I kind of work a lot in segments. So like I have a big plan for Meeler's creations
Mhm.
with the canvases. Basically, I'll have like an NFT and see, I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do it, but I don't really. I mean, I just kind of jump into it and see if it
Oh
runs
yeah.
well. So like, I want to create a bunch of canvas pieces, and they're gonna be big, some really big, some small, and then some like very small. And like, I'll release an NFT, and you'll buy the NFT, and you'll randomly get these sent out to you for buying the NFT, and you might get the big canvas. That's like the big goal is to get the big canvas, which is worth a lot more than the small ones.
hmm
So I don't know, fun things like that. I'm playing with that kind of idea. Potato heads.
Uh-huh.
Um, I want to do something with like a physical piece of those where I send physical pieces out to people. Um, like I'm planning a lot of stuff, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all of it. Really fun. I love that. Like all the creativity. So, one question that I'm just really curious about: is there a piece that to you holds the most meaning? Maybe you still have the physical piece, or like you would keep the NFT. Or is there any one thing that really stands out?
yeah. There's the piece that I made a Woman in Despair. That one really like that was a physical piece, and like there's just something about it. Um, Basically, as soon as I created that, I created other pieces before, and like I liked them a lot, and like I had passion towards them. But that one really just told me like I seen it, and I was like, I think this could be in a museum, and I don't like to say that about myself until like I know. And like I was like, this one could like I can get there with that. Um, I know that it has like all the attributes of being there. And what's funny is they say that green doesn't sell at auction,
Mm.
and like that almost like infuriated me to want to create a lot green pieces.
Uh-huh.
So like I love green, but that kind of makes me want to create more green pieces to like try my hand because I'm curious.
Uh-huh.
I have a green piece behind me right now. Like
Yeah.
that's my curiosity there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, always experimenting, always pushing those boundaries to carve your own path. I mean, that is, yeah, you are a huge inspiration, and I'm sure like everyone listening is really just going to be so motivated and inspired by your story. So like, thank you
I really
again.
appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you again for sharing. Like, where should we send people to follow along?
Uh, Twitter, Instagram, I think they're both Gavin Meeler, if I'm
hmm
not mistaken.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, that's where to follow along. That's where I'm posting everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so this is like truly like I really really appreciate that. This is great. And you are like you are built for this and you are doing everything right. Like I'm really like I'm inspired just by everything that you're doing and just in talking to you even that much more. I want to thank Gavin for joining me on this episode. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's at Gavin Meeler, and definitely check out his work. I personally adore Gavins World. He's building something really special there. But I mean, Meeler's creations. There are so many pieces and diverse pieces to a degree that, like, I am very partial to the Board Girl series, and there's so many things I just love about all of his work. Things we didn't even talk about in this episode, but definitely follow him. And that's at Gavin Meeler on Twitter. As always, this episode of Starting Now is brought to you by Built. At Built, we help you get started online. Whether you want to start a blog or a business, head on over to built.co. That's BYLT.co to get started. Built, your website, built for you, simply. Finally, if you're enjoying the show, I'd love if you check it out on YouTube if you're not there already, and give it a little thumbs up and a subscribe. So it really means a lot and helps me reach more people with this show. So that'll do it again for this week. Again, I am Jeff Sarris. This has been Starting Now, and I'll see you next time.